Hi there, and welcome to an episode of fitpapa. I'm really lucky to have a brand new dad on this call with me, and I really want to experience and understand a little bit of what is going on in households these days when we are under quite strict COVID-19 restrictions. So for a lot of people globally, we are now restricted. We're at home, we are work from home, we do have kids. But I'd like to understand a little bit more about the new dad and how he is experiencing an extended paternity leave, potentially, which is maybe paid, maybe unpaid, and is maybe completely different to what he thought his paternity leave would have been, say, 6 months ago, waiting for the baby to arrive. So Alex McGregor, you've joined me today. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for coming on board and for sharing a little bit of your at-home knowledge. Maybe you could give us a brief background of what you do and what you would normally be doing in terms of working outdoors, working outside the house, and then what that kind of looks like today. That would be a brilliant insight.
Cool. So first, I can probably tell I'm at home. So you can probably hear a toddler shouting in the background, which wouldn't be normal. So I work in Olympic sport. I work for British Gymnastics at the moment. And we are, I guess the first thing is for us, we are in Olympic sport, and it just got cancelled or postponed for a year. So my workload just changed anyway, a lot. But normally for me, I have an hour 15, maybe an hour and a half commute either way to the office. So I just saved myself almost 3 hours a day. It's pretty big. But I suppose for me, I also manage staff. So that's completely changed because I don't see them face to face on a daily basis. So I am still working. I'm really lucky. I'm in a position where I'm essentially grant funded. So if I say there's never any income in Olympic sport anyway, so it's grant funded and it's already in there. So we're still working. And it's just a kind of new normal. I'm spending a lot of my day on conference calls. So I'm quite used to this by now. And I suppose the different challenges, I'm now really juggling that parent life, work life. I would normally be I would compartmentalize quite a lot. So ordinarily what I would do is I'd go to work and think about work. I come home, and when I'm at home, and I don't think loads about work unless I have to, and I do work in some evenings, but I will go off and I will work. So it's a real big difference for me. So compared to what I did last time, I have a almost 5-week-old. So what happened for us is we were lucky. We went in Jonas, the new one, he was born. I had my paternity leave as I was coming towards the end of that. I kind of clocked it was unlikely I was going back to work. And the announcement was on the Friday before I was due to be back in work on the Monday that we were not going back. So I haven't been into work for 5 weeks. It's lovely in some ways, but the flip side is I would say I'm busier than ever. I wouldn't say at the moment I get any downtime at all. I'm used to having a commute. A commute's not great, but it is downtime in a way as well, if you enjoy swearing at people on the motorway. But there is some me time. So I suppose what I'm doing at the moment is I'm getting up still early, I walk a dog, I come back, and then I have the child for a couple of hours. And then it tends to be that I do a couple of hours, good block of work. Then I go down and have a relatively long lunch where I would take, I'll be honest, I'm normally taking the toddler, the 3-year-old. I take him off. And then I do another block in the afternoon. Again, take him for the evening. And once he's in bed, I might then do an hour or two. So the hard thing for me is probably just flip-flopping.
Yeah. Did you before, so say 6 months ago, were you doing any days per week working from home at all? So you were getting a taste of this?
Yes, I did, but I was on my own. So my wife works full time, a pretty heavy job. So she wouldn't normally be here. So, and my son would be at nursery. So that's the real big change. I'd be on my own. So I would work from home. So I'm set up relatively to work remotely. It's more of a mental capacity thing. That's the big change, actually. The remote working I'm cool with. I'm used to it. Because I live away from the office, that was always going to be the deal for me. It's much more actually the mental flip-flopping between I'm at home. I've done quite a few conference calls just holding the newborn. Newborns are much easier to handle than toddlers. So and with it being a second, you're a little bit more casual with it anyway. So I'm finding what I'm doing is I'm having a few. If he's a bit grizzly, I take one of them. pot's just behind me now. So
that's okay. What was the normal paternity leave that you would normally be expecting from your employer? Would it have been a 2-week?
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks paternity leave, which is exactly what I did last. I was in a different role last time, but yeah, I did 2 weeks and then went straight back in. My reflection of that is you go really cold turkey when you go in. When you have a newborn, I think particularly for your first one, you go into this real, you go into isolation mode anyway, really. And then very strange on that Monday or whatever morning it is when you go into work, you sort of wave bye-bye and feel awful, and then of course you get to the office and nothing changed. And it's slightly this balancing of nothing changed. No one actually cares that you've got a child. And you just quickly adjust to that, and then you go home and flick back into family mode again. Whereas I just didn't do that this time. It's probably the long and short of it. I'm also lucky. A lot of my colleagues have children as well, so we are. There's normally a child in the background when you have a meeting now, and
is that accepted? Is that becoming accepted in the norm?
It is, and I don't know if that's my industry. I don't know if I'm just lucky because we have a lot of toddlers, we have a lot of young kids or early school age in the immediate people I work with. It might also be that our workload has changed so drastically. So give you an idea of what I would normally do. I manage a team of people who essentially organise camps and competitions, and I look after, essentially oversee the flow of talent into the world-class programme for British gymnastics. So my change from a strategic level my workload hasn't changed massively from a strategic level, in that all those things are still ongoing, and actually from the agencies that fund us, there's a lot of communication with those because everything's changed the whole time. But for the guys that I manage, their workload just completely changed because what they do on a day-to-day basis isn't happening. So that sort of makes me busier because I'm almost probably spending more time not creating projects, but offloading some projects onto them, but getting them up to speed, whereas I would normally be doing them myself. But so for those guys, it's completely changed. But with that, our mantra has been, in this time period, let's use an opportunity to do work that's been sitting on the back burner for a long time. But with that, accept that we're all in varyingly difficult conditions, and that let's aim for quality over quantity. So we aren't expected to be working 9 to 5. We aren't expected to be at our best 9 to 5, and that's fine. And that's certainly that my bosses have kind of said that to me, and that's what I filtered down as well. So what we're trying to do is use the opportunity to do some really good work, but not stress too much about, you know what, if I have to leave my desk for a couple of hours in the day to look after
it's accepted. Where do you, as a father of 2, how are you managing to combine our trifecta approach that we have in fitpapa and certainly in fitmama? It's one of the main things we look at, and that's combining equally fitness, which is exercise, health, which we regard as food and nutrition, eating well, and then the third element is vitality, which covers, it's an umbrella that covers everything to do with mental wellness, mental health. We normally look at baby blues to postpartum depression, that spectrum for the females. We know now that new dads actually experience that as well. There's studies out there. So how are you managing to combine both a team that you're trying to at work keep motivated, and I'm sure the psychology of the team has taken a big dip because obviously there's huge uncertainty, especially in your market for the Olympics, but I guess also trying to manage that, trying to almost take over the 3-year-old's life, and help that way the newborn and also your partner at home. How is that all working for you as an individual? Are you managing to get some space, that hour and a half each way of commute where you might have been listening to whatever tunes you wanted to, or listening to a podcast, or that's your meditation in sort of a way, I guess, that's gone. What do you have now?
Yeah, so that's the bit that's gone. So I guess the mental health side of the bit you're describing is the hardest bit, to make sure you have that downtime. So that's what's changed. There are real pluses to that too. I mean, spending time with your kids is good for the soul too, So that's lovely to get that time. So the mental health stuff is a bit yin and yang. Really, there's some stuff that's great, but there's some stuff that I miss. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm not, and they're the things that you feel like you're just engaging in something differently. Certainly if all you're doing is picking up your phone and reading the news, it's the same story over and over again with a different death toll number, isn't it? So it's sorry, that was slightly dark, but I mean it's where it is, isn't it, at the moment? My personal health side is my fitness it's almost been a bit of a plus, to be honest, because
Okay.
I'm getting up slightly later. I'm probably ironically having slightly more sleep, although I am being woken a bit. And I'm making sure that I'm doing exercise first thing in the morning. I do either yoga or I do like a HIIT workout with my son, who engages to varying degrees. So I'm kind of able to, whereas I've got into a very bad routine of, we have a dog, so I walk a dog, I run with the dog a little bit when I'm not injured. But other than that, I was in a fairly bad routine. So actually it's been quite good for me fitness-wise.
Okay.
There are drawbacks. I can't go on my bike, or I can, but it's not really advised. So I'm probably running more. So it's a bit of a change, but I'm using it as an opportunity to do more because I have more time in my day. I can be finished work at 4:30 and maybe do a little bit more in the evening, whereas quite often I'll be back at 7. So, there are huge advantages to that. Health and nutrition wise, in terms of what we're eating, we're probably, we're pretty good anyway. It's the long and short of that. We're quite good anyway.
No
What we're
change.
doing is enjoying family meal times a lot more, which is great. I take a bit of a longer lunch. I'm cooking lunch, and that's a bit more of an event than it normally would be. We're most evenings eating together as a family. I mean, I like cooking anyway, so that's something I just have a bit more time to do, perhaps. Again, when you've got kids and a family, it's all quite military organized when it comes to meal times anyway. So that's probably the least changed.
And the last question I have for you is, going forward, when we start to get an exit strategy, you're in the UK, I'm not in the UK at the moment, so we're in different countries at different parts of this this phenomenon. When we do get an exit strategy, especially for the UK, what do you want your future to look like? Just a quick snapshot. Do you want it to be a really good combo of work from home with kids going forward, or would you be like, no, I'm actually quite keen on this, back to work 4 days a week in an office? Because what do you think?
I've done a few different roles, and I have a few different models where I've been to the same office every day, 5 days a week. Someone when I've been to, never really had an office, and I've just been floating around the country, and I've got now, which is a bit halfway. It works quite well for me at the moment. I would probably just appreciate my day or two at home a bit more, and I'll probably, when I work at home normally, I'm probably a bit disorganized and the day can sort of float away. Whereas I think what I'll do is appreciate that actually I can do loads in my day if I'm at home. So if I have a couple of days at home, I'll make sure that I use that time. So that will probably be the big thing that I think will change for me.
That's great. Thank you very much for that insight, and congratulations on the baby. It's
Thank
always
you very
nice
much.
to have a little one there. And the toddler, well, it's a little boy. I've got a boy. He'll be 9 in May, and little boys are good fun. Keep you on your toes from the minute they wake up to the minute they go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
I was told by an old man years and years ago, one of these, he must have looked at me and thought, God, she's about to pull her hair out. And he turned and he said to me, little boys are like dogs. You have to take them out all day and get rid of the energy. And I thought, wow, that's a bit harsh. And, you know, all these years later, I think, yes, that man was completely right.
Yeah, absolutely. Just sort of got to tire them out, haven't you?
Well, thank you very much. And best of luck for the rest of
Cheers.
your this COVID nightmare. Let's see how we get on with that.
Yeah,
Thanks
same
so
to
much.
you. All the best.